Hey there, welcome to another episode of Spice Files. This is the Team Unified World Cup edition. I'm once again joined by Dave. How you doing, Dave?
Great, Mike. Good to be back.
Awesome. Assume you had as much of a good time as I did in London.
It was fantastic. Brothers of Fire threw a great party, and I was lucky enough to be there for the third year in a row.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so it was great this year. They had, I think, 19 teams, so 57 players, lots of different countries represented. There was great buzz and kind of feel in the room, and we had a great day.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this was my first time, but it definitely lived up to all the hype. So, if anyone else gets a chance to go next year, I would definitely recommend that they can go.
Yeah, if you're looking for an international tournament, like getting for an American looking to go to Europe, that is a really good option.
Yeah. It was Team Unified, Swedish BNR, right? And I think that just kind of on its own really tends to generate a little bit of weird stuff, right? Because you have to at least work outside the box quite a bit. So I have some interesting things today that I think you normally wouldn't necessarily see out of your just everyday old school deck. So we can just kick it off.
Let's go for it.
Yeah, the first deck that we wanted to cover was by Christian Albrecht. He was on Team Herborg. That's the Switzerland guys, if you're not aware.
Yep.
So this is like essentially a Jund Reanimator deck. It's heavily based on robots, but there's actually some pretty sweet choices of reanimation targets, including 2 Colossus of Sardia, which I thought was pretty sweet.
He's got the avians in there. I mean, this is a cool. I mean, it's a Reanimator deck. It's not like Reanimator is totally unheralded and old school. Sure. I do think the Jund color combination is a little offbeat, and I think probably as a function of the the team's decks. Obviously, he ended up in these colors. I really like he's got the Sylvan Bazaar interaction there. Which is, green is not a super common color in reanimation strategies. Sure. I feel like so. This is a pretty neat list.
Yeah, and I like being able to play that one Abyss is kind of cool.
Abyss, yeah, totally.
And I think I definitely like the 4 Animate Deads and just 3 All Hallows Eve. I mean, you kind of, in this deck you can kind of cast the guys that you're trying to reanimate as well, right? It's not totally out of the question, maybe except for that Colossus, but everything else is pretty good, right? And
I'm looking to see why he's in. He just has like a toe in red, actually. The deck is base black green, right? But he has Fireball that he can bring in out of the board. I think is the only.
Yeah, that and Wheel.
Now that I'm looking at it, and the Wheel hiding there, yeah. Now, Wheel's great as a discard enabler. And the Fireball, hopefully he brought the Fireball in quite a bit. I like the combination of Fireball and Suchi, for example.
Sure, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, sweet list.
Yeah, very, very cool list. So next up we have a deck by Stuart Schuam. I think I'm pronouncing that right. He was on Team No Name. I actually played against this deck while I was there.
Yeah, they did pretty well, right?
They did pretty well, I think. So this is actually, I really do just love this color combination. For some reason, the deck just, I don't know, the deck just looks cool. I'm not sure why that is to me. I'm not sure that's true for everybody, but red-white decks just have an appeal to me for some reason. So he kind of gets to play, some fairly, good cards, right? He gets Swords and Disenchant and Bolt, but there's a lot of kind of other things going on. It's really a sort of a Diamond Valley deck.
Yeah, definitely.
So he's actually got Disharmonies and Preachers, which is really cool. You don't see Disharmony too often, right?
But and he's playing I've never seen the full play set of Disharmony.
Yeah.
And make some assumptions about the Team Unified format, right? That more people will be on creature-based strategies than not.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was mostly true. There was maybe like one person on like the creatureless tax tower thing, but everyone else was on something with like, it could have just been Sarah's or Sarah's and Serendibs and something along those lines. But people definitely have them.
Creature disharmony is great for against mid-range strategies, especially.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, this is a cool little list. Always like to see the fork.
Yeah.
What else can we talk about here?
I like the Shivan Dragon as well, just having one like giant top end threat, that pretty much goes over everything else.
Well, and I like being able to, you'll see he's not running factories, and he's not really necessarily even needing to attack with the preacher or something like that. Right. So I think Moat is very, very well positioned in Team Unified for some of the reasons I just mentioned. Could probably even run at main deck here.
Probably. Yeah, definitely.
Nice deck.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. All right, so next up we have a deck by Slanfan. He was on the team called Old School Suckers. I actually I have the shirt on. I love the shirt. We traded shirts while we were at the thing. He wanted my Beast shirt, so I obliged. So we have a bit of an interesting deck photo here. He is, I guess, in some way known for having interesting altars on a handful of his cards.
Right. Yeah.
But there's definitely some kind of crazy stuff going on here.
I love this.
Yeah, I mean, so he won. He was Spice Master at the event, if I recall correctly.
He didn't win. Yeah, he was in the top 3 or 4. Exactly.
Got it. Yeah. But I mean, there's just crazy things going on here. I mean, you have Gravity Sphere, and then you have which wall is that? That's Wall of Earth, right?
Wall of Earth. Yeah, the best, probably the best wall in the format.
Yeah.
One red for was it 06?
I think it's an 06. I technically prefer. It depends on if you have, you can kind of accelerate a little into it, but I actually like the other wall that he's playing a little bit more. It's Wall of Heat. Because it's a 2/6. Yeah, it blocks all the same things, but it kills the small guys, and so they actually can't attack into you at that point.
Yes. That's a good wall.
So it's one more mana and you get 2 power, but it's actually pretty good. I've periodically considered putting it in a sideboard, and then ended up not for one reason or another. But it's a pretty good wall, I think.
Yep. Yeah, I love being able to gain life with Diamond Valley when Lich is in play.
That's pretty cool, actually. Yes.
Can you gain life when Lich is in play? Do life gain effects even work? I know it reduces your life to 0.
You just draw cards, right?
Oh, you just draw cards, right? Yeah.
So that's pretty cool because then you can sack your your guys and actually just draw cards off them. I mean, there's definitely a lot of crazy things going on. Considering the last deck that we just talked about, I could actually sort of see some preachers or I guess he's not in white, but you could have some disharmonies or something in the board.
Yeah, I mean, he can sack his eggs or his effigies to Gate to Phyrexia, destroy an artifact and make a dude or do some damage. That's a cool little
sideboard. And then I see the there's one Skull of Orm over there, which is kind of cool. Brings back those Animate Dads or Gravity Sphere or Lich, right? So
and another cool John Blist. I think he's only in green for the channel, which you got to run channel, right? Give yourself a chance here.
Yeah. Or actually, I should correct what I said. I guess if you're getting back Lich, aren't you dead already? Probably just dead already. Right. I was thinking maybe he had a way to have it in his graveyard, discarded or something, but he's not on Bazaars or anything. So. You'd definitely be dead. The mirrors are pretty cool too. Obviously, using those either beforehand to stay alive, or when you have your Lich out, it's actually gaining life, right? So you actually draw a bunch of cards. Which is pretty cool.
This is a great deck. I bet it was a blast to play.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. Yeah, pretty awesome. All right. So next up, we have Simon Shales. His team was the Hive. So he was this was the Spice Master deck. That's right, I remember because it has Worms of Earth in it.
It's got freaking leeches, right?
Yeah, it has Land Leeches, Worms of the Earth, Eater of the Dead. These are a lot of cards you do not see, right? Blight is in here. And Sorcerer's Queen. I love Sorcerer's Queen. That's a sweet card.
I think Sorcerer's Queen is actually pretty well positioned here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it lines up really well with all the creatures he has, right?
Yeah, definitely. You can gum things up pretty good, actually. I guess it's Urg Raiders and Sorcerer's Queen sort of make odd bedfellows.
Yeah. That and Land Leeches, right? I mean, that's probably the best combo. It's just you can't even. I guess it could be anything, but this has first strike, right? So it doesn't even get to deal its 0 damage. Right?
Do you think Song is a purely defensive measure here?
Yes. I mean, probably. Yeah. I mean, the only thing he's attacking with is Skull of Worm, right?
Skulls. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think that could be the case, right? I mean, just turns off all the artifact mana, right? Kills the Moxes.
Yeah, it's cool that it he can recur Blight, I guess, with a Skull. I think land destruction is pretty good in Team Unified. Development is much slower, and if you can block a land, sometimes you can really put your opponent on the back foot.
Sure.
Yeah, this is a pretty funny pile.
Yeah, it is for sure. Oh yeah, there's those whippoorwills in the sideboard.
Indeed. You gotta be worried about regeneration out there.
I mean, I saw a lot of people die to Sedge Troll, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, yeah. So yeah, Simon took home the very gnarly Spice Master trophy, which was like it's like a hunk of driftwood with some appendages. Did you see that?
Yeah. It was like bottles of various spices being poured onto basically poured onto a piece of wood. Basically, it was pretty funny. I can't imagine the trip through the airport with that. You got to take it as a carry-on, right? I assume.
Right. We'll have to put a photo. Maybe you can impose a photo of the trophy.
I can do that. Yeah, I'll definitely put it in here. Yeah, it's a sight to be seen for sure. All right. Next up, we have Chris Cooper. He was part of the Lords of Atlantic. Was the name of their team. Mm-hmm. The deck he's on is it has the one workshop, but it's not. It doesn't feel like all in. It's kind of doing some interesting things. Like it has Trike and Copy Artifact, and there's a couple Tetravis. But there's definitely it doesn't feel like it's sort of like a Reanimator deck, sort of like a Shops deck, but it's definitely got a lot of interesting choices kind of going on in there. There's some Skull of Worms to get back either the copies or the Animate Deads, which is kind of cool. You don't see that a whole lot. I actually played against him too, and they were some pretty good matches. I thought it seemed like a pretty solid deck when he was playing me.
Yeah, there are a lot of like kind of grindy, value-y synergies in this deck. I like it a lot. I always love to see. Let's see. I always love to see Mirror Universe with Sylvan Library. And Sylvan, I guess, is another card that can be brought back with the Skull also, right? Another enchantment.
Yeah, another enchantment. Yeah.
To recur. Let's see. I mean, the full set of Trikes and Copy Artifacts. This actually, the more I look at this, the more I'm reminded of my my NoobCon deck from 2018. It was also Bug. It also had Skull of Worm and Copies and Trikes and Sylvans, cool. And just did a lot of funky things.
Yeah, I like the Sinbads in here too, because they go with the Sylvans and they go with the Skull of Worms, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's actually pretty neat. This is like This is one of the more like reasonable Skull of Worm decks, I would say.
Well, yeah,
Like,
and you can Sinbad if you Sinbad a fat creature into your yard, you can bring it back with the animate easily.
right.
Yeah, so a lot of cool things happening here. The sideboard's pretty versatile. I do like control magic again with Skull of Worm. Could probably see a control magic or two main deck, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um,
Especially his deck had the demonic tutor, right? So you can
yep.
go get one at least, play one main deck. I can see that.
Yep. Yeah, I could see. Yeah, he's got the tutor. Could see transmute in a deck like this too.
Mm-hmm.
And then I mean, we have to mention the Soul Ring altar, right?
Yeah, I was looking at that. Yeah,
the Sonic
it's oddly appropriate given the Sonic the Hedgehog movie is supposed to come out, right?
Yeah, right. Where they had to completely redo the entire movie because because the original rendering of Sonic was really freaky.
It was a little weird, yeah.
Shiny eyes and like teeth and stuff.
Yeah.
This is just a really nice pile, and I bet, and they did very well with this, right? They were in the top 4.
Were they in the top 4?
If I recall correctly,
they were either in the top 4 or they were tied for the 4th place record, right? I can't remember now off the top of my head.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was you guys, them, the South Africans, and then one other team. Yeah. We could very easily look this up. We probably should have done that before.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Well, I mean, we weren't really focused on the results, I guess, right? I mean, it's more what are the cool decks?
The room was great. A ton of fun with brews like the ones that we've just shared. A lot of like funky format side events popping off. People were playing like 40K Ante and Alice, which is Ice Age Alliances. And a fair number of other things. I saw some Alpha 40.
Yeah, Brothers Highlander was.
Brothers Highlander, sure. Yep. And we got a Scryings spoiler at the event, which was Goblin Grenade.
Yeah, that's true.
And that brings us to I guess our last business of the day here, right?
Of the day, yeah. So we have a Scrying spoiler for you. It's actually if you've listened or watched any of the Brewmaster Challenge, I probably said this more than one time. It's actually one of my favorite cards, so I'm really glad that MG gave this card to me. It's Wildfire Emissary, which I think is a pretty sweet card. I think that it's definitely one that'll get played in this Scrying's format, right? And yeah, it's just a card for me that I played a lot when I was a kid. It's just like that exact timing, when Mirage Block was out and I played a lot of red decks. So he was in most of those red decks. But yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of cool things going on with it, right? I mean, it doesn't die to bold, it doesn't get swords. It's, a reasonable creature. It pumps, right?
Interestingly, it's an Ifrit that can't be killed by King Suleiman.
Yeah.
Right? It has protection from white.
Right, yeah, that's funny too. I hadn't thought about that. I guess when I was a kid, that never came up. I don't think I knew anyone with like King Suleiman. Yeah.
And also an Ifrit that doesn't die to bottle, which is I guess outside of Mahamodi Jin and Tempest Ifrit is more rare in old school, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's an interesting card. I don't think it'll spawn an entirely new archetype or anything like that, but I think it does gives red a more durable threat. It's not super aggressive, but late game you can just pump a bunch of extra mana into it. You can make it trade with something that's much bigger than it is.
Yeah.
If you have to. And yeah, just generally, have a respectable body it's also splashable, right? 3 red is pretty castable if you have a more multicolored mana base.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I can actually see it like just sort of as the finisher in like a control deck, right? Like it can fill in that role too if you wanted to, because it's really hard to kill. You want it to not die to, instead of playing like Sarah Angel, for example, right? You can play this thing, and if you're, have a reasonable amount of red mana, it's attacking for a lot of damage anyway.
Yeah, it's a dragon effectively, right?
Right. Yeah. So it kind of has that going for it. I also like that because of the pump ability, you can still attack into Mishra's Factory.
Yeah, definitely.
You know,
yeah,
so
doesn't care factory at all, really.
Right. Exactly. So I think it's just a really solid card, and I think it'll see a fair amount of use in this.
Yeah, very very welcome addition. I love Mirage as a set in general. The art is sweet. I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do with it.
Yeah, agreed. All right. Well, yeah, it was fun having you on here again, Dave. Enjoy your company.
A pleasure as always. And it was wonderful to be in London with you this past weekend. Had a great time. Again, just a great effort by the Brothers of Fire. A great party. The food was great. Beers were great. One of the better venues by far that I've been to for an old school. It was absolutely for the size. So
it was perfect. You had to walk basically nowhere to get a beer.
Yeah.
It was. I don't know that it's ever that simple, really, right? It depends on where you are, I guess.
Ideal and great to see everyone from the various European communities too.
And I'm glad we had how many Americans did
we had 7 Americans, I think.
Yeah. Well, it was pretty great to see everybody as well, because we weren't all necessarily immediate neighbors, right? I mean, you're all the way across the country from me, so
right. East Coast and West Coast might as well be different countries.
Essentially, right? Yeah. So, but all right. Well, thanks for joining me again, and I hope everybody enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.